when I was a kid, I saw a kite, and they were flying kites, and I wanted to fly a kite. So I took a kite flying, and it was super high. I let it go to see what would happen. Of course, that frustrated everyone that I was with, and they went and fetched the kite out, and they were really annoyed by that. I remember I was like 4 years old. I remember distinctly. I remember what I had on. And I said to my dad, one day, why don't we just tie me to the kite? I could go up there. And my dad said, it's not big enough. I said, let's just get a bigger kite then. And my dad said, no, it's too dangerous. I said, one day I'm going to fly a kite. And my dad said, yeah, boy, go fly a kite. So now I'm a paraglider.
So where were you born?
Sudbury, Ontario. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's this little mining town 400 kilometers north of Toronto. My parents had a home for schizophrenic women where they reintegrated women back into society. So they would care for them, and then the women would go do jobs. My dad was an electrician. My mom ran the homes.
What brought you to Vancouver?
My cousin passed away, so I came out here to teach his kid how to ski.
What made you want to stay? And what have you been up to since arriving?
Well, I've been living here in the marina. My father passed away 4 years ago, and I've been in court ever since.
For what?
My father's girlfriend is a convicted fraudster, and my sister and I are taking her to court. We believe the will's fake.
Did he have money?
No.
How do you make ends meet here?
I do various things, write websites, go skiing. Where I live in the marina is not expensive, it's really nice. I catch a lot of fish. I go crabbing, I go fishing.
Do you make money doing that or just feed yourself?
No, I just feed myself.
When did you buy a boat?
About 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Do you prefer to live on a boat?
Fuck yeah.
So it's not just something you're forced to do.
If you get to do, you're lucky enough to do it. Finding a moorage slip takes about 6 years, 5 years, depending.
So how did you find one?
I went into the marina one day looking for some moorage, and the guy that was in charge at that time spoke Spanish, and he knew some of the people in Panama that I knew, so he go be in right place, right time.
If you wouldn't have gotten that, then what? What do you do?
Live on the hook.
What does that mean?
You're at anchor.
Just out in the bay somewhere?
Falls Creek on the other side.
But as it stands, you now have a place at the dock.
Yeah.
Why do you like living on a boat more than on land?
Sleep better.
Well, what's your normal day like?
Get up about 5 o'clock, take the dog out, I go swimming, and I start doing work on stuff. I'm working on a couple projects. Okay.
Good dog.
Yeah, we gotta brush you. Look at the hair, shedding time. Oh, Cremita, Cremita.
How did you get involved in cricket?
Drunk at a pub.
In Vancouver?
No, I was in Costa Rica. And I was playing baseball in the National League there. And some guys from England saw me and they knew I was playing baseball. And they invited me to come out and play cricket. They told me there'd be a lot of women. I think by a lot of women they meant 100-kilo princesses. But anyway, I enjoyed the sport. And I just kept on playing. 4 months later, I made the national team.
In Canada?
In Costa Rica. And a year and a half later after that, I became a West Indies umpire and a coach in Peru.
So you were down there a long time?
7 years.
Ah, this is before Vancouver.
Yeah.
So you got into cricket down there. You just seem to find opportunities to do new things, huh?
Yeah, all the time. Kind of bumble my way into them. Let's see what's going on here.
Who or what do you credit for that?
Just just usually being smiley, having a good time. I had this dream when I was 5, like there was these series of godlike creatures, and they told me I was destined for fucking greatness, and I just believed them.
Do you believe that?
I believe make your own luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm destined for greatness if I think I'm destined for greatness. I'm destined for swallow if I think that I'm going to go there. It's that simple. There's this like overwhelming, uneasy feeling of waking up one morning and realizing that the nation you grew up with, that you held dear, everything you were taught about it it's not accurate. For instance, like my dad's estate issues, a lot of it's based on racism. Like a lot of the difficulties we've encountered in court. My sister and I are native, so it's, it's brutal when you have judges making racist jokes. No, it affects the whole country to a point where 23% of the people incarcerated are native, and the natives account for 4% of the population. You take away all of their parents to residential schools, and then you strip the male population and stick it incarcerated, and then you leave the females on the population to raise kids unattended, and there's no structure there. There's no ability when there's a constant genocide. When I was a kid, my grandfather taught me very well not to take loans, don't pay usury, don't pay the moneylenders. I have a total disdain for moneylenders, and so I don't borrow. I like to take loans. I don't owe humanity anything. I don't owe anything. I'm completely debtless to this humanity. However, I do like to make other people feel nice, or something I get out of it. It's kind of make me nice. This is why I do volunteering stuff. Like I teach Track 3 in Ontario, which is physically and mentally handicapped kids how to ski. It's an all-volunteer program. The bus drivers volunteer. Everything's volunteer. No one gets paid, and you go out and ski. You don't get a lot of skiing done, but it's really, really rewarding.
Do you feel targeted then, you being native?
No, I haven't really. I mean, apart from this thing with my father's estate, so in a sense it's allowed me, it's not that I grew up without it. I mean, I saw racism as a kid. It was endless, but my uncle, for instance, my aunt married a black man, and my cousin's half black, so my mom's native, and I'm half native. So, it's, my dad had red hair and blue eyes. I grew up with racism around.
Mm-hmm.
It was always there.
How do you compare, like, in Canada, do you hear the news of the U.S. and their bouts of racism?
Yeah, I mean, they treat the blacks the same way the Canadians treat the natives.
Are you proud to be Canadian?
No, pride's a sin. It comes right before a fall. I really...
Would you rather live anywhere else?
Oh, yeah, there are a couple of countries for sure.
Like what?
Oh, come on, man. Wouldn't you want to live in Switzerland, Iceland, Colombia?
Why?
Yeah, Colombia. Well, the culture there is amazing. It takes shapes and forms that no other place in the world can. Maybe Venezuela, the shapes and forms of their culture there is amazing. It's just like, I could live in Venezuela, Colombia. I'd like to go live in a series of places. But I don't know. I have a hard time staying a whole year in one country. I like to go to different times, do some skiing, and then go sunny and warm, and go do some paragliding, go do some diving, and in a cold, warm water.
There are some obvious benefits of having a restless spirit like that, where you get to try different things, live different places, have all these different experiences. But what's the downside of bouncing all around?
Oh, of course, there's always, you got to give and take. Family things. I missed a few funerals being around, tramping around the world. I would have liked to have gone to those, and I was very far away and unable to attend. You miss things. You go back and you miss people growing up, and so there's always an expense, right?
Yeah.
But you're a long time dead, so you're best to get it done now.
Do you recognize that you have an easier time learning languages and being ambitious and just than other people?
I think that's the tetracycline.
What's that?
In the 70s, a series of women were given tetracycline for various reasons. It's an antibiotic, I believe. And some of the women that it was given to were pregnant, such as my mom. And it had birth defects with children that were born. The first set of teeth would be all black. My teeth were all black. Inability to digest milk enzymes. A series of other things. It was really hyperactivity.
I asked you a question about your ambition and your ability, and you answered with a cause for defects.
Yeah, no, but okay, so not all defects are negative, right? Super energy, skills, mathematics, these are great things. I'm definitely pleased by the fact that I've been kind of stuck with this kind of, but it is like a mutant. You really are a mutant. You look at people and you watch them and they go to sleep, and you get up at 5 in the morning and you're zooming all day, and at 12 o'clock you go to bed and you're just hyperactive on water, and it just kind of.
So
you have to adjust yourself to accommodate for everyone else around you.
You're that hyper even just on 5 hours of sleep?
6 hours, yeah. I'm zooming all day.
Do you drink to calm down?
Do you mean drink like alcohol?
Yeah.
No, I just have a few beers.
Does it calm you down?
No, weed calms me down. But I don't, beers never calm me down. The energy's there. I gotta go do sports. Listen, I won a debating championship. I was supposed to go be a lawyer. And my grandfather pulled me aside and he said, Stephen, don't be a lawyer, a banker, or a politician. Please promise me you'll never be one of these three. A lawyer, a moneylender, politician. And I said, okay. And I promised him because my grandfather asked me with such conviction.
Your mom's dad or your dad's dad?
Yeah, my mom's dad, my maternal grandfather. And
Native.
No, Ukrainian. And after I asked, only because it was my grandfather that I promised before I asked. That's how much faith and trust there was. I said, why, grandfather? And he said, because the only thing worse than them three is a fucking child molester. And I had the ice cream cone, and I had taken a few licks out of it, and she said, are you going to say thank you? And I said, there's no need. I have the ice cream cone. And she said, look. And I looked, and she snatched the ice cream cone. And she went to my grandfather, and she said, is that an ice cream cone, Bob? And my grandfather said, it looks like there are licks out of it. And my grandmother got cross and said, do you want the ice cream cone, Bob? And my grandfather said, yes, please. She gave me the ice cream, and he said, thank you. And she said, there, Stephen, do you understand? You have to say thank you. And I said, okay, Nana, I understand. I promise I'll say thank you from now on. And she said, you promise? And I said, I guarantee I promise. She said, forever? I said, yeah. She said, okay. So then she went in the freezer and she made another ice cream cone, French vanilla, and she ate it. Here, you can record this.
Okay.
If you think you cannot, you can't. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost, for in this world you'll find success begins with a fellow's will, it's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You have to think high to rise. You have to be sure of yourself before you can ever win the prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. And I am that man. That's what I believe. I believe that my whole life. And no one can tell me I can't do that. When I was a kid, I saw a kite, and they were flying kites, and I wanted to fly a kite.